Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Music Talks. It is my privilege to welcome the president of Washington Adventist University as our very first guest of 2021. Good afternoon, Dr. Spence. How are you?
Good afternoon, Dr. Lou. How are you doing this fine afternoon?
Doing well. Happy New Year to you and your
Happy New
family.
Year to you, my friend.
You made the decision in the fall and then again this winter that WAU would go virtual. Would you walk us through your thought process and what guided your decision-making process in all of this?
Certainly. I evaluated the data. We have identified a COVID-19 task force that is made up of individuals across the campus, and they assess internally how prepared we are and also external data. We believe in the science, by the way.
And so good to hear, by the way.
That's correct. The science informs us. And after of great concern for me and the entire administration is the wealth and safety, not wealth, I should say health, well, wealth also, but the health and safety of our learning community, our students, or faculty, or staff. And after realizing that within our community, Montgomery County to be specific, which is a very conservative county relative to the health and wellness, I made the recommendation not to reopen because of the increase in infection that was occurring. And our faculty had made a very good adjustment to virtual. So primarily because of the health and safety of our faculty, staff, and students, we decided to continue virtual.
Was that a difficult decision? The reason why I asked, because many institutions decided not to go completely virtual, and many institutions cited the financial reasons. I remember you saying at the beginning, I guess at the end of last semester, that finances were not going to play a role in this. That I believe you said God would take care of the finances.
That is correct. We believe if we put our health and safety, that's a priority for me, is the health and safety of our people, and that the Lord will take care of the finances, and so it wasn't. The decision was. Let me get rid of this here. The decision was difficult, very difficult, in the sense that the mission of Washington Adventist University cannot be fully implemented and become a reality virtually. If our students are not on campus where we are engaging them, where they are interacting with each other, the student from Maine is interacting with the student from Moscow, and the student from Brazil is interacting from the student from Trinidad. That cosmopolitan mission that we carry out is not being fulfilled at all. When we have our students in campus and we're able to do student life and the interactions inside and outside the classroom, that's when we're fully implementing the mission of Washington Adventist University. So it was a difficult decision, even with input from students. Some students made it clear, especially during graduation time, they made it clear, we do not want to walk across our living room to receive our degrees. We want to walk across the stage at Washington Adventist University. And so they want to be on campus, and we desire that. And so it was a difficult decision, taking in consideration what some faculty would like to do, what some students would like to do. I know it wouldn't be a popular decision to please everybody, but in leadership, one just has to use the data to make the right decisions all the time and not necessarily a popular decision.
So if I could ask you about that, do you mind talking about just in general your leadership principles? Because like you said, you can't please everyone. Sometimes you can't please anyone. There's always going to be those that don't agree. There will be very vocal. There will be those that agree. They'll be very vocal. Talk a little bit about your principles, your guiding principles when you have to make decisions like this or in any other challenging situation.
First of all, I realize, and I must practice this daily, that I'm leadership for the people. What people am I talking about now? Our faculty, our staff, our students, our parents. That's who I'm serving. I believe in compassionate leadership, where I'm taking into consideration the well-being of the people I serve. And when I approach it from that standpoint, it guides my principles of leading based on principles and the core values that guides us. I believe in the leadership of how Jesus led. You know, he came here for us, and I want to be of service to humanity. In my neck of the woods now, it becomes an academic environment, and so the campus must be safe. We must be just, fair. We must recognize that we have a diverse campus, diverse in many ways. And so we must be welcoming of all the various diversity that represents in campus. Um, we also, what guides me also is the input, the dialogue that we must have. It must not always be a top down. I like to debate the issues. I even sometimes welcome an opposing view, because what we're looking for is the best and right view, which is not necessarily always mine. And so by the debating the issues, by discussing the issues, by having task force and committee meetings where we all can debate the issues and come up to a majority decision, or the right decision, that certainly is what guides my leadership.
Speaking of leadership, if we could take a step back to 2020, and boy was that a challenging year,
Yes, he was.
just on so many fronts. You know, you had said that this country was dealing with two viruses: the obvious virus of COVID-19, and also the hidden virus of social justice. Was to You've been in leadership for 30 some years, and 12 of those years going on your 13th or 14th year here at Washington Adventist University. Was 2020 as a leader your most challenging year?
It was a challenging year. I don't know if it was the most challenging. I really haven't made a comparison, but it was was challenging. You know, to lead a campus where there are no students, that hurts me personally, because I'm a leader that leads by walking around. I walk around and interact with students, finding out how they're doing. I oftentimes see them on the elevator and say, "Are you making grades that I'm proud of?"
It's kind of like their parent in a way.
That is correct, because I'm an extension of their family. Their family have made an investment, and we want to triple and quadruple the returns on their investment so that they're prepared to return to society. So when social justice theme started to cultivate during 2020, it gives us an opportunity to really inform the public of how diverse we are and how we get along. We have a great history of how we get along. During Black History Month, for example, in February, it's amazing last year how I see the white students, the Caucasian students from Europe, talking about the history of Black history. They're the ones talking about how all this occurs when the Latino population have their Latino week. Sometimes it's month, sometimes I think it's the entire year, because I love that culture. How they talk about how we get along, and the differences that makes us strong. You know, that's a good question, because just today I wrote a devotion that talks about that. Paul talks about how we are within the body. There are various different members, but it's all united about one cause. You know, the right hand can say to the left hand, "Well, I'm better than you are," or the eye can say, "Well, I'm better than the hand." You know, we all must unite around this one cause and practice that for humanity. So it doesn't matter where we're from. It doesn't matter if we're wealthy or poor. It all matters that we are all God's children, and we are all on a journey to improve life. And we want to create that environment here at Washington Adventist University.
So that's what I so much appreciate about your leadership is when you say all God's children are welcome here. You know, at the beginning of this academic year, you had identified the presidential election as something that could overwhelm not just our institution, but higher education institutions across the country. Little did we know that what would happen on January 6th, the riots at the U.S. Capitol. President Spence, this country is bitterly divided. It is
That's correct.
bitterly divided. First of all, I guess first of all, what was your reaction to all of this? Yeah, you come from a family of immigrants, as we all do. I mean, we all have a history of immigrating here. Yeah, these very institutions of democracy were being challenged. But but then second of all, when you say all God's children are welcome here, why is that so important, especially now?
It is so important because of our faith-based organization that accepts all of us as a part of the family of God. And I grew up in a little paradise island in Jamaica. And I will say to your audience, before you die, you must visit the island of Jamaica.
Plus, eat their food, if I might.
That is correct. Great food. But the motto of Jamaica is out of many, one people. If you look at the history of how I was brought up, first the Indians were there, then the Spaniards came, then the English came, the sugar plantation, then they use Africans to come in to work the plantation, and the Chinese and the Indians to be merchants. And we are all now of one fabric. It's amazing to me at sometimes, Dr. Lowe, that as I look at an Asian person and expect them to have an Asian accent, to hear them speak with a Jamaican accent, it's just amazing. And so, with that history of how I was brought up with my parents, and what they have instilled in me, is that we're all God's children, and that having this opportunity to serve here at Washington Adventist University is actually a privilege, and to words matter. Words are important, and even more than that, modeling the unity and the welcomeness of people matters, and certainly words of hate, words of distinction, words that hurts other people it's not welcoming. There are good ways to do that, and that separation and the certainly we can have division of concepts,
Right.
division of opinions, but there are certain principles that are not debatable. There are certain principles. Here's one principle: if you go on this building right now and jump off, you're going to go down, not up. That's a principle. That's not debatable. And I think to be unified in recognizing and having respect and equality, gender, the old gamut, whether faith-based, whatever it is, there must be respect and open dialogue on that. And that's what guides my principle-centered leadership.
We are a music department. If I could switch gears, and
Uh-huh.
usually right around this time, we're busy preparing, rehearsing, planning for concerts, and you've always been very, very supportive of the music department. In fact, our first building in over 40 years was our music building. Why is the music department so important to this university?
I think Shakespeare said something about music at some point, right? If music is a you probably can guide me through it. I don't know if I'm going to quote this correctly, but play on, play on. I think it's a universal language. I think it's a universal language. And it still is. The diversity of music and songs really brings people together, because that's a single common thread that radiates through the soul. When I arrived on campus, I discovered that the music department was a stellar music department, and the best music department I found in the worst building on campus.
That is very true.
Yeah, that doesn't match up. You know, that's a good question because I recently read a letter that Dr. Bingham sent to me some years ago. And in his letter, he mentioned that he thought the best of CUC or WAU was behind him. Little did he realize that it was really ahead of him. And we actually named the rehearsal hall after, with his contributions that he has made to the university. You'll notice that a music major is within the music department. You also have biology majors and social work majors, and just a diversity of set of students are within that department. And so it's a model for the university to see how music brings us together as a university. And it's also, because the music department is so outstanding, it's also a tremendous marketing vehicle for us, in that we can go travel throughout the world and play or sing, perform, probably I should say, and it just resonate with individuals wherever we go. And one of the just this one little point here that I'm so proud of is that, you know, is when I was in Moscow, and a little young lady was introduced as coming second, or was second in the world in her music recital. It was so empowering of me to go up to her and her parents and say, I would like you to attend Washington Adventist University because we have one of the most outstanding music departments. And I'm glad to say that this past May, she graduated from Washington Adventist University. So it's an outstanding department, and it brings us all together. Right now, at the end of faculty meeting, we have one of your faculty singing for us. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, no, that's right. We are just so appreciative of your support. We just recently launched a music therapy program, and if I could ask you, which which is absolutely thriving with new students and generating a lot of interest in our department, at a time when other institutions are cutting back on their music department or their arts, it almost seems like Washington Adventist University is almost investing in the future of the music department. Is that accurate, or is that just wishful thinking on my part?
No. Clearly, we are investing in music. As you mentioned, we made an investment in a brand new music building, and we are looking at programs that will enhance music. And I'm glad that there's a music therapy program because just about every student that comes to the university now is expecting to have a job upon completion. And so we're now building within the music department a career-based program so students can depart from this place, the gateway of service, and provide comfort, soothing, and therapy to other students. So we really want to invest in that and see how we can even partner or probably say coexist majors. My background is from the health professions. And oftentimes when I was practicing, I was called into surgery to take a radiograph or something. The surgeon would be playing music. I don't know if you have noticed that. And so we probably want to use our music majors along with our biology or medical majors so that music and the therapy that comes with music can be a part of their practice or work day as they practice whatever profession they choose.
As the university grows, you've begun to lay out Vision 2030. What role do you see the music department playing in the university's future?
I see them as an option for students to have a career in music. I think music has long been part of one's lifestyle, a part of life, period. I certainly appreciate our chair of music department, Daniel Lau, for widening the repertoire of music and creating some jazz. Hopefully, one day we can do some reggae.
You can take it back to Jamaica.
That's correct. We can widen the repertoire so people can experience the various types of music because there's no bad music. I mean, people may label it based on words or what have you, but it provides for us a calmness in life, you know, and so I see music as a continuing part of Washington Adventist University. As a matter of fact, we recently went through pruning, if you want to call it that way, of some of our academic programs, and music was considered a strong program relative to its enrollment. And I think if we develop a marketing plan that shows the world what we're doing here at Washington Adventist University, we may be able to double or triple our enrollment within music. And again, it's the alignment of various majors with music that makes a difference. And again, being a faith-based organization, a part of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, music has long been part of the ministry. And so it fulfills our core mission of being part of the faith-based organization within the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Now, just on a personal level, I mentioned it earlier that both you and your wife have been strong supporters of our music program. Just about every concert, you and your wife are almost always present at most all of our concerts. Just on a personal level, where did your love of music, where did your wife, because I know your wife was a part of the Sligo Music Club before.
That's right.
So both of you have had a love of music. Where did that come from?
It's probably heritage. You know, it's I been part of music has been part of my life all my life, and the diversity of music. My parents invested some time and money in me learning piano. Uh, I preferred the trombone, so I had some lessons on the trombone, and but did not continue that. So what I realized is that you have musicians appreciate audience. Most times, if not every time, a musician wants to play for an audience. And therefore, instead of being the performer, I want to be part of the audience that appreciates the music and cheers them on. So I think the both of us, my wife and I, Rebecca, certainly appreciates music a great deal. So much so that even my children, you know, my son, for example, he plays multiple instruments. You know, sometimes he'll take the drums and then play the drums, then combine it with his bass guitar, then plays the rhythm guitar, and then bring all that together. It's amazing what technology does.
Have your own reggae band, President.
Have his own reggae band, and my daughter is loves to sing. She has a very lovely voice, and so we are a musical family that really appreciates. As a matter of fact, her husband is a pianist.
Is he really?
He's a lawyer by
Okay.
profession, but he also plays the piano, an accomplished piano. I hope one day we can have him featured in one of your concerts.
Oh, that'd be great. Oh, that'd be absolutely great.
And by the way, they would love to donate also. So that's one way to get some donations into music.
Absolutely. We could use your connections. Finally, and, finally in closing, you've been president of Washington Adventist University for over 12 years now. Um, what do you find most rewarding about leading or being president of this institution?
The impact on students. I get up every morning because of students. One of these days, when you have time, I'll tell you my story. You know, when I immigrated from Jamaica to the United States, it was in December. First plane ride I've ever taken was to New York City, Kennedy International Airport. And the first week of January, I started continue my college career. I did 2 years of college in Jamaica and continued my college at university or college in Massachusetts. So here you have this tropical boy left Jamaica with 80 and 90 degrees, and in December and in January it was in the 20s. I'm still defrosting from that experience. But my start of college there was poor. I received poor advising. I was an outsider. I didn't feel welcome. I didn't have a whole lot of money, and so it impacted my learning and impacted my major was biology. Uh, Probably should have advised that. Probably the first question should have asked me when I selected biology is, what do you plan to do upon graduation? Because what does one do with a biology degree upon graduation? Um, and so it gave me a passion to be supportive of students. Even as a student at that college, I gave me a passion to be supportive of students because I ran for election of a Black Christian Union, and I got elected as president. And I used that opportunity to organize mentoring and advising for freshmen as they came in, so that they wouldn't have the same experience that I've gone through. And it is at that point that I decided I'd like to play some role in influencing young people in their career path. And being serving as president now gives me that opportunity to influence how we use resources, human and financial resources, to support students on a career pathway. Because I strongly believe education is a pathway to success.
It is.
Education is a pathway to success. And sometimes I say Christian education is the guaranteed
Right.
pathway to success. You know, yes, you may be an outstanding athlete, but that doesn't last too long because many of our athletes do not have the knowledge of the education of how to spend money and how to invest. So I really believe that education is a pathway to success, especially for young people or Gen Zs as they enter uh, higher education. I've just launched purchased a book and I've circulated to the entire faculty and staff. It's called Education, or rather, pardon, Relationship Rich Education. And I'm trying to use my influence to create that positive relationship with students to get their attention so that they can be an excellent partner in their role towards their career journey.
Absolutely. Well, Dr. Spence, I know your time is, I know your time is valuable, but on behalf of all my colleagues and the whole music department, faculty and family, we want to thank you for your leadership and support of our department, but also for your leadership of this university. Um, so thank you so much for taking the time today. I know you have a busy schedule, but I do want to thank you for taking the time chatting chatting with me today. And is there anything else you'd like to say before we
Yes, let me say thank you for the opportunity to dialogue with you, and most of all, thank you for your leadership within the music department. I mean, you're an accomplished musician. You probably could have gone to many other places to serve, but you have taken invested your time here at Washington Adventist University, and I've noticed the work that you do along with all the faculty and staff within the music department. I certainly am very proud of our faculty there and what they do for the music department and the influence that you have. It's been built on a solid foundation, and so I want to congratulate you and uh, thank you for your service to our students and to Washington Adventist University.
well, thank you for that. It is a real joy to be able to come to work every day and to really enjoy what you do, to be able to work with such great students and colleagues. So I thank you very much for that.
All right, and this is Washington
Adventist.
Adventist University. Thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you, Dr.